Dear friends, every kind of power comes with increased responsibility. Atomic energy operates in a similar manner. Although nuclear power is a cheap source of electricity and having a stockpile of nuclear weapons ensures the security of your nation, it is also extremely risky. A country has frequently in the past suffered significant losses as a result of a slight error. In today's video, we will discuss such nuclear mishaps and learn when and where they occurred, as well as how they occurred and the results. Welcome back to the videos.
A scale for measuring the intensity of nuclear accidents exists, just as there is one for estimating the intensity of earthquakes. 0 represents a very minor accident and 7 represents a very major one. The International Atomic Energy Agency introduced this scale in 1990. Let's now learn about the most hazardous nuclear accidents that have ever occurred.
On April 26, 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine experienced the worst nuclear accident in history. Reactor number 4 of the power plant was holding an experiment when the reaction abruptly spiraled out of control and caught fire, destroying the reactor cover. A number of rays were present. The Soviet Union, which at the time also encompassed Ukraine, initially tried to conceal the accident from the outside world. They formally apologized for the event. As a result of this accident, 50 people died right away. Many more suffered radiation damage, and many children born here were born with various congenital disorders. 355,000 persons were consequently evacuated to a secure area as a result of this accident. The nuclear accident was given a severity level of 7.
Dear friends, a nuclear power facility in Fukushima, Japan experienced another major nuclear disaster. A 9.1 magnitude earthquake and ensuing tsunami struck Japan on March 11, 2011. At the time, 3 of the 6 reactors at the facility were in operation, but owing to an emergency, the power system was severely compromised and the generators ceased to function. Despite being closed, these reactors had so much heat stored inside of them that they had begun to melt. Their cooling system was also malfunctioning at the time. Additionally, these reactors were accumulating hydrogen gas. This gas caused significant explosions in reactors 1 and 3.
These reactors were also stockpiling hydrogen gas. Significant explosions were brought on by this gas in reactors 1 and 3. A 20-kilometer radius was promptly evacuated, and anyone not authorized was not allowed to enter. Following this accident, 1.5 lakh people left this region. It was given a level 7 severity rating.
During World War II, the United States used nuclear weapons to show its power. Following this conflict, the Soviet Union expanded its nuclear weapons production facilities and labs across several of its nations in preparation for future attacks on America. All of these, my friends, were constructed in an emergency. One of these units had damage to the cooling system of the waste storage tank on September 29, 1957. This tank was used to store the extra radioactive material. The chemical overheated and exploded because of a broken cooling system. Additionally, the most hazardous component in it flew and covered an area of 780 square kilometers. 10,000 people were relocated from this region to another within a week. Friends, the specifics of this tragedy were not made public because the Soviet Union developed these plants in secrecy and kept them hidden from the world.
Some claim, however, that following the tragedy, people began developing weird illness and their skin began peeling off of their bodies. In a report on the same topic from 1989, a Russian biologist revealed startling revelations. But in 1990, this report became widely known. This incident led to the deaths of 200 people from radiation, induced cancer, and thousands more from other illnesses. The level of this nuclear accident was level 6.
On October 10, 1957, the worst nuclear disaster in England history took place. A nuclear reactor was constructed in Cumberland, England in 1940 with the intention of producing plutonium for nuclear weapons. This reactor's name was Windscale. However, when England learned that the United States had made a nuclear bomb using tritium, a different chemical, they began planning to produce tritium in the same reactor. However, this reactor was not intended to be used in this manner. Nevertheless, work kept going. The workers observed that the reactor's temperature was rising during the checkup on October 10, 1957. When they checked, they discovered that the reactor's lower portion was on fire. This reactor contained radioactive substances. Actually, it had been blazing for the previous 2 days. The blazing particle had already diffused across the whole atmosphere by this point. The reactor was about to blow up.
The workmen made every effort to lower the temperature, and on October 12, or after 2 days, the fire was finally put out. However, my friends, these radioactive materials had broken down into particles and had spread over the UK and Europe. Although there was no evacuation after this tragedy, studies indicate that 240 persons had cancer. Reports of this accident were withheld from the public for a very long time. Level 5 was assigned to this nuclear accident.
On March 29, 1989, a nuclear plant in the US state of Pennsylvania had the worst nuclear catastrophe in the country's history. The failure of a reactive pressure valve was the primary contributor to this disaster. Water that keeps the reactor cold began to leak from the reactor as a result. Friends, there was a lot of radioactive material in this water, as well as that was dangerous to people. The temperature of the reactor began to increase as a result of the cooling water loss, and the threat of the reactor meltdown grew. However, the governor of Pennsylvania had to issue orders to remove young children and pregnant women from the area when radiation level in this area reached unsafe levels. Employees were able to lower the reactor's temperature 3 days later on March 31st.
In this manner, the possibility of further damage was reduced. Nonetheless, the cooling water leak had contaminated the groundwater and caused a significant amount of radioactive material to dissolve in it. Because a discussion about nuclear power and weapons had already started in the country, the United States did not make any particular information of deaths, injuries, and accident reasons public. Level 5 was assigned to this nuclear accident.
We hope you enjoyed today's video.
That's it for today.
Bye for now.